UNHCR and global politics. Please join me in welcoming Abraham.
Thank you, James. That was a very warm welcome, and I am a bit overwhelmed. Thank you. Honourable members of the Canadian Association for Refugee and Forced Migration Studies, distinguished speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to be with you here this morning. The subject of my keynote address is one that is vast in scope and complex in substance. It is not something that is new to us. Forced movement of people, as well as the voluntary movement in search of greener pastures, has been going on for time immemorial and continues in modern times. Indeed, this is not a recent phenomenon, and UNHCR has been making interventions regarding the relationship of asylum to migration for years, trying to disaggregate refugees from migrants. For example, on 5 July 2000, Ms. Erika Feller, who was at that time director of the UNHCR Department of International Protection and is now our Assistant High Commissioner for Protection, made a statement to the UNHCR Standing Committee in Geneva as follows. The convention is unfortunately more and more held accountable for what it has not achieved in relation to the problems for which it was never intended as a response. The convention was never conceived as an instrument of migration control. Unfortunately, in my view, little has changed in the intervening period. And if anything, there is now greater confusion than ever before. For the record, I wish to state at the outset that personally, I do not think that there is such a thing as an economic refugee. Essentially, the term refugees is applicable to those persons who are forced to flee from their homes due to persecution and not due to economic motivations. While poverty may be one aspect associated with persecutory treatment and an important factor to be assessed as part of a refugee status determination process, individuals who move solely to improve their economic well-being are not refugees. Refugees meet objective criteria relating to a protection need as defined in the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees and its 1967 protocol, regional instruments such as the 1961 Organization of African Unity Convention or the Cartagena Declaration or in national legislation. The right to seek and enjoy asylum is a human right. Human rights are by definition universal. It is easy to forget this and to allow short-term fears and perceived interests to harm the preservation of long-term rights-based approaches. One role of academic research is investigating this. To step back and to examine how to balance the need for governance and the exercise of individual rights. Historically, and in a relativist world, Canada has mastered compromise domestically. An examination of why this has worked as a reminder for the future and model for others is a significant service to humanity. Further, Canadian academics have a luxury of resources that allow the depth of analysis and global reach. To highlight an important element, we call for focus on why people move today, be it for protection-related, economic, or other reasons, including natural disasters resulting also from climate change and environmental degradation. We call for action in addressing their needs so that movement is unnecessary. We promote dialogue that is informed and objective. Complex issues such as this need and deserve thoughtful examination, including through means that generate healthy public attention and debate. Populist rhetoric will not do and can lead to inhumane treatment of ordinary people who are simply looking to lead normal and peaceful lives. For example, simply castigating queue jumpers rings hollow for the many who have limited access to the basics of life, stigmatizes people who have serious needs and concerns, and provides no solutions. Having noted this, UNHCR engagement in matters relating to mixed migration flows, where people moving for various reasons, including forced displacement, economic betterment, and other personal motivations, come together in a stream of traveling humanity which increasingly ignores classic definitions of borders and sovereignty is important. Because as countries seek to manage these movements, this can harm refugee protection. Within the context of global politics, in a world of quick and efficient movement of people, goods and services, and where there is deliberate action to increase speed and ease of access in pursuit of greater wealth and wealthier societies, and the power that this commands, barriers appears counterintuitive. But ease of movement is not frequently perceived as a threat. Our experience has been that from the perspective of national policy makers, mixed flows often are viewed as broader migration issues, frequently labeled as illegal. Much of this movement is from poorer southern to rich northern countries, though there are also migrations from southern countries to countries in the south. And movements in this direction are also increasing. In response, countries at the receiving end seek to institute more effective controls to limit access to territory. For refugees and asylum seekers, access to safety is the fundamental need, and restrictions on access imperil them. The impact becomes much greater where governments focus on the right to seek asylum as a loophole in systems where lack of other methods of regularizing the status of individuals who arrive uninvited.